They were yelling at me, beating me up. It was kind of diabolic.
Miriam Lewin was a 19-year-old factory secretary when she was kidnapped in Buenos Aires in 1977. Miriam was a supporter of the leftist group called the Montoneros. Some of its members used terror and violence. Many, like Miriam, simply wanted social justice in their country. After being held for nearly a year by the Argentine Air Force at an unknown torture center, Miriam Lewin was transferred here, the School of Naval Mechanics, or ESMA, in Buenos Aires. She was to be kept prisoner at the ESMA for another year, but she was one of the lucky ones.
At the School of Naval Mechanics, in what they call the basement, they had room 13. This room was the place where they tortured people with electric shocks. While they were torturing people, we worked nearby. You had to pretend that the screams did not affect you. If you showed that you were affected by torture, that would be a sign that you were not recovered for society, and they would transfer you as well. They would kill you.
At the ESMA, the Argentine torturers participated in an unimaginable plot which gave a new and horrible twist to their brand of state-sanctioned terror.
Many of my comrades were pregnant when they were arrested. They kept them alive, allowed them to give birth to their children, and then the military took away the babies. They usually gave them away to military families who could not have children of their own.
Did you know any of the people that this happened to?
Yes, while I was at the ESMA, I met inside Patricia Roisenblit. She was almost 9 months pregnant, and we were friends from the outside. She had been kidnapped with her husband, also by the Air Force, and then taken to the ESMA just to give birth to her baby. She had a baby boy. I witnessed the delivery. I saw the doctor cutting the cord and putting the baby on her chest. She was radiant. She chose the name of Rodolfo for the baby boy. After a few days, they took her away, and they took away the baby.
Patricia Roisenblit was 25. She has never been seen since, but she is just one of hundreds of pregnant women who disappeared in Argentina during the Dirty War. These are the mothers of those disappeared women, the grandmothers of the unseen babies. Their organization, the Grandmothers of the May Square, has been campaigning for 25 years to find their children and their grandchildren.
El dolor más grande de una madre es la desaparición y muerte.
The most painful thing for a mother to suffer is the disappearance and death of a child. In our case, the case of the grandmothers, we also have to suffer another hardship, the loss of a grandchild and the child of our son or daughter. I think that the most frustrating thing, apart from the pain, is the uncertainty, not knowing. We don't know where our children are, and we don't know where our grandchildren are. Common sense makes us think that our children have been assassinated, but that our grandchildren have not. The grandchildren are the disappeared who are still out there, alive and with people who are not their real parents, and with names that are not their real names. These are the people we have to find and rescue in order to give them the freedom that they deserve. That is why we call them the disappeared that live.
Son desaparecidos vivos.
When Patricia Roisenblit was kidnapped all those years ago, she left behind a 15-month-old daughter, Mariana.
Estos son mis padres, José Manuel Pérez Rojo.
These are my parents, José Manuel Pérez Rojo and Patricia Julia Roisenblit.
Era propietario de un comercio cuando fueron secuestrados.
My mother was studying medicine and my father owned a small business when they were both kidnapped on the 6th of October 1978 at the age of 25. In April 2000, one of my colleagues here at the Grandmothers Organisation received an anonymous call from someone who talked about a boy who'd been given to an intelligence officer in the Air Force called Francisco Gomez. The caller said that the person had been the son of a medical student who'd been kidnapped and then killed. I decided to go and see the boy, who was now a man. He could not talk because he was busy, so I left him a note with a contact number on it. I also told him who I was, that I was looking for my brother. We talked only briefly, but he was very receptive. That very afternoon, he came back to the office so that he could have the DNA tests and clear up the doubts that he obviously had after he met me. I had found my brother.
Sadly, as soon as I realized that I had found my grandson, I also had to accept that my daughter was gone forever. In other words, the feeling was bittersweet. On the one hand, I was overjoyed when the genetic tests on my grandson came back positive. There were lots of tears, shouting and leaping with excitement. However, that moment of euphoria passed, and I felt very sad because I realized there and then that I was never going to find my daughter.
I think of my parents as frozen in time at the age they were in these photos, an age I'm fast approaching. That's really strange. I feel as if these photos no longer tell me anything because I've stared at them so many times, but they're all that's left of the disappeared. It would be nice to find another photo. I've no recollection of my parents, just certain feelings, and these were reactivated when I found my brother. He stirred up feelings for my father especially, because he looks so like him.
These are the disappeared. And this is the gruesome, painstaking task of trying to locate those missing people. Luis van der Brede is a forensic anthropologist. Working from whatever records they can find, he and his colleagues locate the last remains of victims of Argentina's years of state terror, dig them up, and try to piece together the story of what happened to them and who they are.
This was